Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where two friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accents.
Yeah.
I'm Amanda.
I'm Lucy.
And this week we have a very special fan pick brought to you by Jenna Bradley and her rats, whose names will mean nothing to Lucy, but everything to me. Her rats' names are Martin and Zenator, and if that doesn't ring a bell, it's because it is from the brief but exciting and exquisite tabletop role-playing game podcast that I did called Could Have Been Heroes a couple of years ago. And there are characters in there named Martin and Zenator, and Jenna named her rats after them.
Oh.
And it makes me so happy.
That's so nice.
So freaking cute. I noticed that neither of them are named Gwendolyn, like after my character, but that's fine. We'll talk about this later, Jenna. But for now, her topic selection is North Carolina crimes.
I feel like we just did South Carolina crimes.
We did, and I committed the crime of mixing up a bunch of cities that are actually from North Carolina with South Carolina. So now this is like my opportunity to either redeem myself or just
Do it again.
Be worse.
Even it out.
I strive to be worse.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
There's one thing that
You
is
can count
consistent
on.
with your ambitions.
So that'll always get worse.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
doing it.
That's great. I'm proud of you. Progress is progress, even if it's downhill.
It's still forward momentum, even if it's careening downhill and picking up speed.
Exactly.
You are a South Carolina girly, though, right? You haven't spent as much time in North Carolina?
Correct. The only time I've been to North Carolina is when we went to Charlotte for a live show, for our NASCAR
right.
show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
But I've been to Charleston a few times. Oh, well, two times.
Twice is a few.
Yeah. A couple times.
Mm-hmm.
It just
All
seems
right.
warmer. Seems very, like, swampy.
Yeah.
And
a
I
little
think
bit more of
North
like
Carolina-
a vacation destination. And North Carolina, to me, having spent very small amounts of time there, but that's where my cousin lives, feels more residential, more suburban, less of a destination.
And
A lot of golf.
it feels more northern.
Mm.
I mean, that's a stupid thing to say. It's North Carolina, South Carolina, but it feels less of the humid swampy.
Oh, okay. Like less, more northern in terms of climate.
Yes.
I'm
Which
excited.
It is northern. Also more
Yeah.
mountains.
Oh, yeah. The terrain is very different, but I'm sure we're going to get to it in your amazing segment.
You know, we are.
Yes. How many of, what were those fucking maps I was looking up? I was literally looking at topographical maps. I added like 15 topographical maps to the Ozarks Crimes episode.
You sure did.
So let's just get excited about those. But first, I am going to dive into our little wine crime pairing for this week because our fan picker requested a shout out to a winery in Lexington, North Carolina called Native Vines Winery. From their website, Native Vines Winery is the first American Indian-owned winery in the country, owned and operated, by Darlene Gabbard. They're located in Lexington, North Carolina, homeland of the Kiowa tribe of Indians. The winery is located on 36 acres of rolling pasture and woodlands. And I also just want to remind folks that I am reading their own description of their tribe. So all terminology used is coming from this indigenous owned winery, and I just want to honor the language that they are choosing. So that is why I'm using the word Indians. Some folks do prefer that. The winery is located on 36 acres of rolling pasture and woodlands. Our winery is bordered by Highway 150, the old Waxhaw Indian Trading Trail, and Indian Grave Creek, where it is legend that tribes buried their dead in the banks of the stream.
Ooh.
Arrowheads and other artifacts can still be found when working the soil. And Native Vines Winery offers a full lineup of award-winning Vitis vinifera, along with many fruit blends. And their winemaker, Darlene Gabbard, has also created and produced a unique line of green tea wines, which is a first for the winery. It's something I've never heard of.
Cool.
But it sounds incredible. And they have a huge selection of wines, and I love that they sort them more by flavor profile. So if you're looking for something sweet, if you're looking for something dry, if you're looking for something semi-sweet, that's how it's separated on their website. So it starts with dry wines. You also can have this shipped as long as your state allows it. You can get shipping in 3, 6, and 12-pack styrofoam form boxes of wines that you order. In their winery, they offer tastings for $12 a person, which includes 6 of their award-winning wines of your choice and a souvenir stemless wine glass that you can keep. So, like, that's a really awesome tasting price. I don't know very many wineries that will let you taste 6 different glasses and keep a cup for $12.
That's incredible.
Like, if you're in this area, I would highly, highly, highly recommend supporting this business. In their dry wines category, they have at least 4. It looks like they do offer a kind of a rotating selection. Semi-sweet is pretty robust. There's 6 wines listed here. And then they have 3 or 4 in that sweet wine category. So if you're looking for a little bit more of like a fruit wine, they have really something for everybody, and their prices are extremely reasonable. Bottles start at about $12.99 and range, I mean, on the high end, they go up to about $23 for all of the stuff that's made right there, grown on their beautiful land, and, you know, everything is completed to fruition. I just think that's so cool when you actually get to go to where it's grown and made and taste it.
Yeah, especially with something like wines in particular, because like that terroir that we always talk about, it's you can experience it firsthand. It's like, oh, that crisp coastal breeze that's like incorporated into the grapes, and I can also like feel it on my skin, on my skin.
Another thing that I really appreciate about their wine selection page is that each wine also has some food pairing recommendations. You know I love that. So I'm so glad that she brought this winery to my attention because I had not heard about it. So check out Native Vines, and you can go to their website at nativevineswinery.com, learn a little bit more about them, order some wine, schedule a visit. I personally am drinking a probiotic tea because my stomach is not great today.
Maybe someday in the future they'll make probiotic tea wine.
Oh my God, that would make me so happy. And I'm still recovering from a cold that I've had for like 11 fucking days, which is driving me nutty. It's not COVID. And I don't know. I think my body just hates me. But I did take a gummy so that I could survive at least my case, which I know people select like the state crimes options, thinking that it'll just be fun and we'll poke a little fun at your state jokes and we'll make fun of your flag, and then we just bowl you over with some of the most like horrifying cases out of these states. I don't know why we keep doing this to you.
Well,
but you have that to look forward to.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
It's a wild ride. But before we get to it, let's hear a quick word from our sponsors and then get back to business in North Carolina.
I'm ready.
Have you ever heard a song on the radio and gotten the overwhelming feeling that that song had to have been written about you?
Yes.
Wouldn't it be cool if that was real?
Yes.
Well, now it can be, because you have the power to gift that same overwhelming, incredible feeling to someone that you love with an original song from Songfinch that actually is written just for them. I have done this for Lucy. I guess Lucy made a song for me.
Sure did, babe.
And she's going to play it for me right now.
I sure am. But first, I'm gonna tell you what Songfinch is.
Oh God, okay.
So you can really get primed for this.
I love it.
So Songfinch lets you create an original radio quality song inspired by your own life and the people you love. It is completely unique. It's personal. It lasts forever. And frankly, they're a bop every time. Songfinch walks you through a simple process to create your original song. You just tell them who the song is for. what style of song you want. If you want like R&B, like pop, country, more acoustic, emotional. And then you share some personal details about your relationship with the person you're making the song for. Then an actual Songfinch musician of your choice will write, record, and produce your original song in just 4 to 7 days. It's
Unreal.
so fast. You can also get unique add-ons that make your gift even more special, like a vinyl recording of your song or a one-of-a-kind art print made from your lyrics.
Oh, God. Cute.
You can also add your song to Spotify. Get ready because you've got art with yours too.
Oh, no way.
Yep. Get excited.
Oh, my God.
So I'm going to play you this song right now.
Okay.
All right, here we go.
Okay, I'm scared and excited.
You always make me smile so effortlessly every day. So I hope that I can do the same with a song for you, and maybe later you'll sing it to beans after smoking that green. I love your crazy tattoos, your wild nails, and everything that makes you you.
Oh, my God.
You make my life so much better. I can always depend on you.
This is the bomb.
Yes.
No matter the weather, you keep me laughing through. No one can take your place.
Rubber face.
Even though I'm no Celine Dion, you hype me up when I break into song. You always remind me just not to
Rubber face. So that is your Songfinch song.
My God.
And the art print is on the drive if you want to look at it. There's a folder called Amanda's Song.
Oh, my God.
It's all the lyrics, and it's like in this beautiful like line illustration of like flowers.
This is stunning. Rubber Face by Anna Mars. Oh.
Yeah. Add Amanda to the more than 350,000 happy customers. Songfinch is proud to be called the #1 custom music company in the world. So whether your song is for Mother's Day, Father's Day, just Amanda Appreciation Day, an upcoming graduation or a wedding, or just to show a loved one how much you care, start your song now to lock in a top Songfinch artist. Don't just buy more stuff. Get him a radio quality original song that's totally unique to your relationship with them, with your rubber face.
I will. This is more important to me than any stuff I've ever accumulated in my life. Oh my gosh. And for a limited time, Songfinch is letting our listeners upload their song to Spotify for free so you and the lucky person you gift it to can listen to it anywhere, anytime. Go to songfinch.com/gals and start your song. After you purchase, you'll be prompted to add Spotify streaming for your original song for free, a $50 value. Again, our URL is songfinch.com/gals. Don't forget to share your song with us too. Songfinch.com/gals and treat your gifting.
Treat it.
All right. I'm excited. I'm fine. Lucy.
Sorry, I was just hoisting up my huge Stanley.
You did make a little like sound. Anyway, what do you have in store for us for background and maybe psych on North Carolina crimes?
There's no fucking psych, but I do have a short case for us.
Ooh, I love when you bring a short case.
Just a shorty
All
but
right.
a goodie, and an unsolved-y. We'll get
I'm
to
here
it.
for. Mine's also a fucking unsolved-y.
North Carolina is just full of unsolved-ys. Okay. On November 21st, 1789, North Carolina became the 12th state in the Union when its General Assembly ratified the U.S. Constitution. The state is approximately 53,819 square miles. It's not huge.
No, but that's bigger than I pictured it. I feel like maps are so misleading.
I mean, they are, and like world maps are super racist. But,
So I just never know how big anything is.
well,
My spatial awareness is Incredible.
It's bigger than a bread box. I can tell you that. It's got about 10.5 million residents.
That's a lot of people.
It is. The capital is Raleigh, but its first capital was a city called Bath.
Okay.
The state motto is Esse quam videri, which translates in English to be rather than to seem, which is very
Sounds
heady.
like a shitty tattoo that a SoundCloud DJ would have on his bicep
Or
in Latin.
Or like the Latin, like across the like breastbone.
the collarbone. Yeah, 1000%.
So that was really, really heady to me. So here's some further context.
Okay.
In Cicero's essay on friendship, he wrote, quote, Lipschitz.
Pop.
Friendship. He wrote, quote, few are those who wish to be endowed with virtue rather than to seem so. Meaning there are more people who pretend to be righteous and good than who actually are.
Okay. All right.
So
you're not wrong, Cicero Lipschitz.
it's better to be virtuous rather than to just seem virtuous.
Yeah. Your performative virtue is showing.
Yeah.
North Carolina. Just kidding.
So the state's nicknames are the Old North State and also the Tar Heel State.
Which I think we've discussed before, possibly in North Carolina, possibly in NASCAR crimes. Tar Heels feels so racist to me.
It's not. I'm
But
going to
it's
tell you exactly
not.
what it's from.
Yeah, it's shocking.
Yeah. So the Tar Heel thing comes from the state's production of naval stores, which I pictured as like belly button shops.
They sell belly button rings.
Or like navel oranges. But a naval store, it pretty much just means any liquid product derived from conifers, like pine trees.
Nothing to do with the navel.
No, I don't know what the navel came in. But so like pine oil and turpentine are derived from different conifer trees. Also tar and something called pitch, which is a kind of like polymer.
Yeah.
And that's extracted from the state's pine forest. And then from the University of North Carolina, quote, workers who distilled turpentine from the sticky sap of pine trees and burned pine boughs to produce tar and pitch often went barefoot during the hot summer months and undoubtedly collected tar on their heels. So to call someone a rosin heel or a tar heel was to imply that they worked in a lowly trade. During the Civil War...
So it's less racist, it's more classist.
Well, during the Civil War, North Carolina soldiers flipped the meaning of the term and turned the epithet into an accolade. They called themselves Tar Heels as an expression of state pride.
They reclaimed it.
They reclaimed it. The state tree, as you might be able to tell, is the pine tree, and the state flower is the flowering dogwood.
Oh, gorgeous.
I will get to some more state thingies later on because there's a bunch and they're insane. North Carolina is typically broken down into 3 sections. So we're going from west to east. We have the mountains. So that includes the Appalachian Mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountains, the Great Smoky Mountains. Lots of mountains in that region.
Yeah.
They also have some of the highest mountains in the eastern United States.
Wow.
So we've got the mountains, the Piedmont, and the Piedmont is basically a big plateau. It's not mountains and it's not coast. And then the third area is the coastal plain.
Okay.
So they're very distinct topographies, as it were.
The Piedmont, the big flat.
Yep, the big flat, the middle,
And
got
the
mountains, the middle, and the coast.
Okay.
According to my boyfriend, Britannica, North Carolina's beginnings are closely tied to the earliest attempts at English colonization of North America. So, if you remember 326 Macabre Mysteries,
Oh, yeah.
I covered the Roanoke colony.
You did.
So Roanoke Island is an island in Dare County, North Carolina.
That's right.
And that was the site of the famous lost colony that vanished sometime after the original landing in 1587.
Bye-bye.
That's so creepy. I love it so much.
Very creepy.
In 1629, King Charles I created the province of Carolina from northern Florida up to Albemarle Sound, which is a large estuary on the coast of what is now North Carolina. So a northern colony was established in the county of Albemarle in 1664, followed by a southern colony that had its own government at Charlestown, which is now Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, this is making sense.
In
Splitting
1670.
off.
So they're about 220 miles apart from each other, but those were like the two hubs in this
Carolina swath.
Carolina, yes. The northern region's earliest European inhabitants were displaced former indentured servants from the Chesapeake, who had a few established small tobacco farms. Meanwhile, Charlestown was the heart of the colony. It was this big merchant port. It was just bigger, and they had like more kind of commerce happening.
Okay.
The two locales evolved separately, and as their differing geographies and inhabitants steered contrasting courses, a formal split emerged. And in 1712, North and South Carolina became distinct colonies.
Okay.
There was no reported beef between the two.
No shade.
So North Carolina, had fewer resources than South Carolina. Therefore, in 1729, okay, this gets a little bit early colonial complicated.
Oh, Lord.
7 of the 8 Lords Proprietors, which is just a fancy name for men who are loyal to the crown.
7 of the 8 Lords of Leaping.
Yes. So there were 8 Lords of Leaping who were big King Charles fans. They were the ones that were kind of running North Carolina. They were representing the crown. They kind of made the government. Because North Carolina had fewer resources, they were just kind of like, oh, screw this. So 7 of the 8 sold their shares of North Carolina to King George II. They were like, we don't really want to do this.
Yeah.
So therefore, North Carolina then became a royal colony ruled directly by the king, except for 1/8 of the colony, which that one guy kept.
That 8th Lord that didn't leap into selling his share.
He didn't leap.
Okay.
He looked before he left, and he decided not to leap.
I'm keeping it.
I'm keeping it. So this guy's name was Sir George Carteret. He continued owning 1/8 of the colony's land, but because he owned such a small sliver, he didn't have any say in its government. And after the king's officials appointed provincial governors in North Carolina, their government became more efficient and more stable. They created their own economy. It got better for North Carolina after the king was like, okay, this was fun. I'm going to appoint some governors. We're done now. Okay. On November 2nd, 1769, North Carolina signed a non-importation agreement to resist British taxes.
Okay.
So they were like, we don't want anything from Britain. Bye.
We're done.
So this event is often seen as the first time a legislative body acted during the Revolutionary War and may have inspired the North Carolina slogan, "First in Freedom." The slogan may also refer to the Halifax Resolves, which ordered North Carolina's delegation to the Second Continental Congress in Philadelphia. So they had some delegates go to Philadelphia to represent all the colonies and
get them in the government, the federal government fracas.
Well, there wasn't a federal government yet because at that time they were still ruled by Great Britain. So this allowed these delegates from North Carolina to form foreign alliances, but they also instead sought and voted for independence from Great Britain. So this made North Carolina the first of the colonial governments to call for total independence. So again, this first in freedom thing, it also became a factor leading to the writing of the Declaration of Independence. And we will be circling back to this when we talk about the flag, which is right now.
Oh, thank God.
The first official North Carolina flag was adopted on June 22nd, 1861. Its colors and stripes are based on the stars and bars and displayed the date of North Carolina's secession from the Union.
Okay.
So that's May 20th, 1861. So they were all proud about their secession. Okay. Several Confederate regimental flags were subsequently based on that design. So we talked in South Carolina Crimes about how there were multiple Confederate flags because that was kind of regional.
Yep.
So the North Carolina flag kind of inspired a bunch of those.
Great. What a proud inspiration.
Yeah. Don't worry, they didn't keep that date very long because it's problematic. So the present North Carolina flag is a little bit different, but not by that much. They mostly just switched some colors around, and then they replaced that date. So this new flag was designed by General Johnston Jones, who served in the Confederate Army. Woohoo.
General Johnston Jones.
JJ. The flag consists of a horizontal red stripe over a horizontal white stripe, and then on the left-hand side is a vertical blue stripe incorporating a white star with the initials of the state, NC, and a ribbon above and below the initials.
Cute.
The top ribbon has the date of May 20th, 1775, which is when Charlotte became the first American governing body to declare independence from Great Britain. That date and that fact is actually disputed, which I think is kind of funny because it's so prominent on their flag. They're so fucking proud of it. But like, historians are like, well,
guys.
That was an inference made by this one document, which may have been like a reproduction, like an after the fact kind of.
We don't know if it's legit,
we
y'all.
don't know if that's legit, but I'm not. That is not. I don't have a dog in that fight. So
nope, none.
The bottom ribbon has the date April 12th, 1776, which refers to those Halifax resolves. So both of these dates basically place North Carolina at the forefront of the American independence movement. Aesthetically, it's not the cutest flag.
Yeah.
It's kind of like forcing a history lesson.
It feels a little low effort.
It kind of looks like a lazy AI generated like American state flag.
Yeah, with dates on it.
Yeah. But at least there's no racist imagery in this one.
Yeah,
so
I'll take it. But
I'll take it.
I hate the racist imagery. I do, however, like the random flags with just like really poorly done illustrations in general.
They're like people.
Yes, we've seen some talk about things that they look like AI made them. Like no one could get the hands right. The faces are all off.
The eyes are two different sizes.
Nothing. It's really comical.
There's 6 fingers.
Yeah. So, this is fine.
It's fine. You know what? It's no Sicilian flag with those 3 legs.
The legs in a circle kicking around each other.
It's very Game of Thronesy.
It's the best flag I've ever fucking seen. I love it so much.
These just loose legs, miscellaneous legs.
Known for our loose legs. North Carolina. Let's fucking go. Tar Heels.
Tar Heels.
3 legs with sap on them.
Yeah.
Done.
And a pine
Just made
tree.
your flag. And a Lord a leaping in a pine tree.
New Poe family Christmas song. Well, we can have some more ideas for a better state flag for North Carolina once we get to all the fun state stuff at the end of my background.
Okay, great.
Okay, so moving on to Wilbur and Orville Wright. They became interested in the state in the late 1800s. They started like taking a closer look at it, like maybe this is a good spot. And then in 1900, they moved to Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. I don't know where they moved from. Oops.
That's fine.
And they chose it because of the state's strong winds, which could lift a craft.
Oh.
And soft sands for a gentle landing of a craft.
Wow. Okay, that's brilliant.
To them, these were the perfect conditions for flying a glider. At 10:35 a.m. on December 17th, 1903, the Wright brothers made history in Kitty Hawk when they conducted the first sustained and controlled airplane flight.
Yep.
This famous flight only lasted 12 seconds, and the craft went about 120 feet.
Listen, a lot can happen in 12 seconds. You can create life in 12 seconds.
Yeah, a lot can happen in 120 feet.
Yep.
So I have this picture, which is on the drive, which will be on the
Of
blog.
the glider.
Do you see the glider?
It's wild.
And I think that's Wilbur Wright, who you can see next to it. So he had been like running alongside it, like kind of keeping it balanced. And then he just like let go, like when a child is riding a bike and you just let them go and they go on their own.
Yeah, fly on their own. Yeah.
This is like that moment.
It's very cute.
The first like second of their airplane like working independently.
The other brother's on it just lying faced at planking
Oh my God,
in the center. Yeah.
I didn't even see that.
Wild. I mean, this is less dangerous than the doors flying off of Boeings.
True.
So I'll take it.
Yeah.
I will just fly everywhere I need to go in 12-second, 120-foot intervals while lying flat on my stomach, and I'm barely 10 feet off the ground. How about that?
Like, how many feet off the ground is this?
Oh, yeah. If this is that guy, that's maybe 2 feet from the very bottom. It's like his legs.
It's like max 3 feet. But yeah, that's probably 2 feet. Oh, it's precious. I didn't even see him planking on there.
Honey, the first thing I clocked were 2 little shoes peeking at me.
So cute.
Bubba.
Wouldn't that be so exciting? That'd be a long 12 seconds if you were the guy laying on the plane.
Terrifying.
Yeah.
Thank God for that soft sand for landing.
Exactly. Good old Kitty Hawk.
Oh, God bless.
So they conducted 3 more test flights that day, with the longest covering 852 feet in
That's
59
badass.
seconds.
Shut up. They made so many improvements on that first day.
Yes.
Good for them.
Oh, almost a minute. That would
How
be
stinking
so
cute.
exhilarating.
It really would be exhilarating. There's so much wrong with so much of the early days of America.
Uh-huh.
And this would be fucking cool to experience.
This would be very, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
So this aircraft, that plane, was named the Wright Flyer, a.k.a. the Kitty Hawk Flyer.
Mm-hmm.
The Wright brothers returned to Kitty Hawk a few years later in 1908 and made the first 2-person flight in history. So they both got on that plane.
2 planks.
And if you, like me, wondered where they got the adorable name of Kitty Hawk,
Yeah.
it's derived from the native Algonquin Native American language word Chickahawk, which means a place to hunt geese.
Oh, okay. Nothing to do with cats. Big letdown.
Or hawks.
Or hawks.
But instead, geese.
Yeah, cats and hawks are not a great combination, so I'm like thankful for that, for the cat's sake. But yeah. All right, geese.
Kitty Hawk.
Kitty hawk.
Chickahawk.
Kitty hawk, home of the geese. Inexplicable home of the geese.
So today, the aerospace and defense industry remains an important sector of North Carolina's economy. I feel like there's a lot of military shit in North Carolina.
Yeah, North Carolina seems to like their military bases and their fast-moving vehicles, whether they be by land or air.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
According to the North Carolina Department of Commerce, some companies doing business in North Carolina include Collins Aerospace, Honeywell, Spirit Aerosystems, and Lord.
Lord, like the singer.
Yeah, sure, we'll go with that. She is
does a lot of
from North Carolina.
Is she?
No.
Isn't
I think
she
she's
British? Oh my God. This is tragic. We're so old.
I know. High Point, North Carolina, is sometimes called the furniture capital of the world because it has the world's largest furniture store.
But do they have the world's largest rocking chair or basket?
They sure don't.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know where the rocking chair is.
The rocking chair, I think, is in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong, but...
You're never wrong.
Oh my God. That's so untrue, but I am going to look that up.
And I never lie. Also, the world's largest furniture manufacturer and the world's largest furnishing industry trade show. The High Point Furniture Market occurs twice a year and attracts 160,000 people to the city. Have you heard of High Point?
Casey, Illinois, world's largest rocking chair.
That's where Lord is from.
I was off. Anyway, sorry, you were asking me a question. Have I ever heard of what?
High Point Market.
Yes, I think.
it's this big trade show. It's a furniture market.
Okay.
It features millions of square feet of retail and trade furniture showrooms. So maybe I've only heard of it because when I worked at Traditional Home magazine, like the editors were always going to High Point for like the big interior decorating show.
Got it.
Yeah.
That tracks. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, it's big. If you're like in the industry, you definitely know about it.
Right.
According to Bloomberg, the High Point market brings in about $200 million annually in state and local tax revenue alone.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Because you got to spend a decent amount to get $2 million in tax revenue. So
Yeah.
we're dropping bills on this furniture. Shit. Is it like a marketplace? At this point, is it like a company like Blue Dot or whatever where they just have stylists and stuff? Or is it like actually a marketplace of like all these different designers that are debuting and selling their furniture in this specific place?
It's mostly the latter. It's like a big expo.
That's fucking cool.
So
I like that because then you get revolving and evolving ideas and designs. And it's not just like the world's largest home furniture.
No. It's like what's new in in trends and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like different companies like Sunbrella will be like, okay, this is our like spring collection of patio furniture, outdoor fabrics.
Got it.
Or whatever. Okay, so here are some interesting facts about North Carolina. Babe Ruth hit his first professional home run in Fayetteville, North Carolina on March 7th, 1914.
I know him. I've heard of that sport.
The Sultan of SWAT.
Yes. From the Sandlot. I got it. I got your joke.
Okay, so I'm just gonna say this. The first Vicks, the first Vicks Vapor Rub, was sold in 1905 by Richardson Vicks in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and so I have a gal that helps me write my notes.
Rub. Yeah.
Her name is MJ, and she wrote in the notes in all caps, MJ loves Vapor Rub.
Why? It grosses me out.
Oh, I like it.
Oh, I can't stand the smell.
It's a nostalgic smell for me.
Yeah, I can't. Ew, if you have a bottle right there, a vial. Do you? You're not protesting.
No, I don't. It's upstairs.
You thought you did, though. That's what you were fucking looking for.
I was
Office Vicks?
Thinking of this tin of Vaseline. It could be a tin of Vapor Rub, but it's not. It's Vaseline.
Honey.
Look at us. What's your flavor? Original?
Vanilla cream latte.
Sick. Mine's aloe.
It's a holiday one. It's very mild, but I love this.
I love our little Vaseline tins on our desk.
Yeah.
That was cute.
That was really cute. I miss you.
I miss you too. I saw you 2 days ago and I miss you. Okay, this next part reminded me of like the Windex in My Big Fat Greek Wedding.
Yes.
So some studies suggest that Vicks Vapor Rub can help ease nerve-related foot pain, treat cracked heels, and help clear toenail fungus.
Okay, the fungus, I'm going to call bullshit on because it's actually really hard to get rid of fungus. But the other two make perfect sense to me. It is like a petroleum jelly-based salve. So it's going to be hydrating. And it has that like mentholated stuff that gives it that scent that's supposed to clear out your sinuses. And that has numbing effects on like topically. Yeah. So like if you use fucking Icy Hot.
Yeah, it's
that's
the same
essentially
like
really intense
menthol.
Vicks Vapor Rub. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
hate the smell of Icy Hot. I know it's like a similar smell, but it's like too intense.
I can't stand either of them.
And it hurts my skin. It's too intense for me.
Yeah, it's a bit much. Much.
It's a bit munch.
It's a bit munch. My gummy's definitely kicking in. I have a mentholated topical roller that's like a THC and CBD based salve.
Nice.
And it doesn't have nearly as much of the menthol intensity, so it doesn't like sting. But it is so amazing for like joint and muscle pain. I love it. I actually used it before and after surgery for some of the pain in my foot and leg, and it worked really well.
Wow.
When I run out of it, I'm going to be really sad because I think I got it in like Denver or something, and I basically never. Well, we are going to be in Denver in July.
Denver in July.
Okay, I'll take a picture of the brand so I can try and get another one.
You should. Okay, Charlotte, North Carolina is home to the first Family Dollar location.
Oh, Lord.
The company is set to close about 1,000 locations nationwide, by the way.
I think it was it John Oliver who did a segment about dollar stores?
I was thinking about that too. And like all these TikTok videos of like how awful, like all expired food.
These companies are not good.
Horribly treated employees. Sometimes there's like one or no people working there.
No, we need affordable and accessible food sources that aren't like capitalist hellscapes like the Dollar Tree that are just going to set up in already like economically
depressed,
deprived, really, because we just are withholding resources, areas that are already in food deserts, and then this is your option. So it's like some of the limited options for employment in those areas and limited options for like nourishment for the community in those areas, and their business practices are not good. Not good. We need to be fighting for better like food accessibility laws nationwide. Just gonna put that out there.
Was that a dollar store when we were in Dallas and we were walking to the venue and you had to run in?
Went low.
You had to run in and get some juice and some snacks, and you were like, "It smells like fucking vomit in there."
It was the only. There weren't even like bodegas nearby. I would have just gone to like a local bodega or gas station or something, but no, this was the only thing that sold food.
Yeah, that wasn't like a restaurant
within like a mile.
Yeah,
it was wild. Sad. Anyway, congratulations, Family Dollar. We hate you.
Yeah, good job. Bye.
And we do not judge anybody who shops and utilizes dollar stores. That's not at all what we're saying.
No,
they're on a systemic level predatory. That's the problem that we have with it.
A lot of people rely on them because of their prices and things like that. But our point is there should be better alternatives that are filling that same hole.
Yep. Also, apologies. A storm has just erupted and my office is subterranean, but like my egress window cover just sounds like Blue Man Group right now. So if you can hear that through my mic, I apologize. Blue Man Group is giving a private performance in my window.
Lucky. I bet some people paid a lot for that.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that because my mom and sister took Molly and Emily to New York City this past weekend.
I saw her post.
And they were like, you could pick, like, we'll go to a show on Broadway. You could pick anything you want to see. And they picked Blue Man. Which, like, they're 7 and 10. Of course they're going to, I just thought it was so funny. It's like, could have seen, like, Wicked. No, we're going to go to Blue Man Group. All right, girl, go off.
Go off.
Have fun.
Blue Man Group was the first time I ever heard the F word.
Fuck?
Yeah.
Did they say it or did someone in the audience say it?
No, they said it in the, they said it was like something that's like, I don't know. They had like a voiceover lady and she was like, this is known as a mind fuck. And I was like, oh, and I was like,
oh my God
is right. That's it like
so
stuck with
badass.
Me, obviously.
You learn. I just assumed I taught you how to swear, but I guess Blue Man Group did it.
Blue Man Group. Well, Blelly Blord kind of taught me how to swear.
That's fair. Okay, she came first.
Then Blue Man, then Amanda.
The Blue Amanda Group.
You are a blue man.
I am. I blew myself.
Okay. So back to these state thingies of North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you one guess of what the state beverage of North Carolina is. And I won't make you guess anymore, but the state beverage just cracked me up.
Well, I can't think of like a fruit that they're known for, but I would imagine it's like some kind of juice. Well, pine. That doesn't give me much to work with, but something with maple. I don't know. Coffee with maple syrup in it. I'm pathetic.
The state beverage of North Carolina is milk.
Wait, just cow's milk?
Just milk. Yeah.
The fuck? Why?
I don't know. I don't know.
Wisconsin, I would get.
Yeah.
the dairy capital of the country.
They just
Does
picked
North
milk.
Carolina even have cows? Is that like a thing? Like, I mean, I know they have cows, but is that like are they like known for their dairy farming? Why milk?
I don't know.
I'm spiraling. This is sending me, I'm very confused.
I don't know. The big milk really got in on the ground floor in North Carolina.
Dude, I'm telling you, government cheese and big milk, don't trust it. I do not trust it.
There's a whole conspiracy about government cheese and the dairy industry, and it ties into why they say like Americans are fat because we eat so much more cheese and dairy based foods because the dairy lobby like got its fucking hooks into the government, and that's why the government had government cheese for a long time.
Girl, that's not a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, it's like a convoluted, like, it's a thing.
Y'all, it's real, man.
It's real.
The Illuminati wants us to fucking die off of that cheese.
Mm-hmm. The state bird is a cardinal.
Cute. Okay. Well, is the cardinal the state bird for like half the states in the U.S.?
Probably.
Okay.
Milk is probably the state beverage for like at
Water.
least.
Crows.
Bubbly.
Michael Bublé's water bubbly.
The state butterfly is an eastern tiger swallowtail. Gorgeous.
Ooh, stun.
State colors, obviously red and blue.
Mm-hmm.
The state dance is shag. I don't know what that even means.
I will not be Googling that.
The state fish is the red drum. Red
Cute.
rum.
Okay.
Red rum.
Red drum. Red drum.
Red drum. The state food is scuppernong grape and sweet potato.
Okay.
I didn't look any further into that. The state fossil is megalodon teeth.
Love that.
Uh-huh.
I love the state fossil. That's my favorite.
Yeah. The state gemstone is the emerald.
Ooh, gorgeous.
The state insect is the western honeybee.
Cute.
Those fat little guys.
Love those.
The state mammal is the eastern gray squirrel.
Oh, how cute.
The state marsupial is the Virginia possum.
Do we have a state marsupial?
Probably. I don't know that we would. I mean, maybe.
Wow. Okay.
Google it. Minnesota state marsupial.
Okay. I'll Google that.
The state mineral is gold. The state reptile is the eastern box turtle. The state rock is granite, which reminds me of Love on the Spectrum. Was it? It was not Tanner. It was, that cute guy who lives with he's got like brothers and his mom is like a hot. Anyway, he's on a date and he's like, do your parents have occupations? And
I don't.
And the date was like, yeah, my parents are like psychotherapists or something. And he goes, my mother sells granite countertops.
Okay. The Minnesota state marsupial is the Virginia possum.
That's the North Carolina state marsupial.
I think that's just the breed of possum that's in most states in our climate range. I don't think we get to be special.
Oh, okay.
I don't think each state gets a different one.
So my father-in-law really wants a pet possum?
They're not that hard to get in the Midwest because you can just put cat food in your yard, and then you'll have more pet possums than you wanted.
He has taken to checking dead roadkill possums, checking their pouch.
For signs of life?
For babies.
No.
Yeah.
He wants to raise one.
He wants to raise one. He wants it to know him. He wants to imprint onto a baby possum.
Or have a baby possum imprint on him.
Yeah.
There's such a thing as too far. Just going to put that out there.
Okay, the state seashell is the Scotch bonnet, and the state tree is, of course, a pine tree.
Yep, cute. Okay.
So here is my mini unsolvey.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we called it? Unsolvey?
Yeah, I think so.
And this is the story of Beth Ellen Vinson.
Ooh.
Beth Ellen Vinson was born to William and Penny Vinson on September. I don't know why I said that. I meant to say February.
Same difference. Basically the exact same month. I feel that so deeply right now. I don't know why I said that.
Oh, I'm staring at the word February and I just said September. Okay.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
I'm totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
On September 16th, I did it again. On February 16th, 1977.
Yikes. Yep.
She was an Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. February, Aquarius. Growing up, she was described as being the light of her family, and she loved dancing. She entered dance competitions and beauty pageants from a young age.
Mm-hmm.
In July of 1994, the aspiring dancer and pageant queen moved from Goldsboro, North Carolina to Raleigh, North Carolina, in order to work and save up enough money to move to New York City, where she wanted to dance professionally.
Oh, she's the greatest dancer.
Mm-hmm. She just wants to dance.
I love that.
Although her family was unhappy with this move, they felt that the move to Raleigh would kind of be a little bit of a kick in the ass and help her realize how hard her dreams were going to be and how hard she was really going to have to work for them.
Yeah.
So they described her as headstrong and determined. Mm-hmm. So it was probably one of those like, well, go figure out life. If you're not, not going to listen to anyone else, go for it.
Yeah.
According to her mother, Beth Ellen moved into an apartment with her boyfriend, whose name was Rick Heath.
Okay.
And several other roommates. I don't have a lot of information on these other roommates, but basically they didn't have a lot of money. Mm-hmm. They were trying to save money, so they moved somewhere. They had a bunch of roommates for a cost-saving measure.
Sure. Makes sense.
So, predictably, this move was not as easy as she had imagined. She and her boyfriend were having difficulty making ends meet, and they needed to make rent. So, when an escort service offered her a position, she took the job. She saw it as a way for her to save a lot of money and move to New York quicker. So, this was sex work is work, people.
Yep, absolutely.
Just 1 month after moving to Raleigh on August 16th, 1994, so she's 17 years old at this time. Mm-hmm. She's a child. Mm-hmm. She's a minor.
Yep.
Beth Ellen answered her phone around 2 a.m. It was an offer to meet with a client from the escort service that she worked with. Mm-hmm. And she was last seen leaving her apartment at about 2:30 in the morning to go meet with this client. According to Rick, she was supposed to meet this person at the Innkeeper Hotel on Capitol Boulevard, do what she had to do, and come straight home, go back to bed. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So the next morning, or like that morning, at about 5:30 a.m., a used car salesman at Goodwill Used Cars, which was a local car lot, was going to work. And when he arrived, he was confused because he saw Beth Ellen's white 1990 Mazda 626 sedan parked haphazardly. It was like parked in a way that was blocking the entrance to the parking lot.
Okay. Yep. So it's like it was ditched there.
It was just ditched.
Yeah.
Well, something.
Someone left in a rush or was forced out of their vehicle in that spot, or it looked sus.
It was very sus. Mm-hmm. The car windows were rolled down. The radio was on. So it was running. And one of Beth Ellen's shoes was on the ground near the driver's side door. So
like a struggle.
He called the police. They came. They investigated. They didn't know what was going on. And around the time that the police showed up, Rick, the boyfriend, also pulls up to the car. Mm-hmm. He tells the officers that he had been looking for Beth Ellen all morning because she had been gone all night and never came home. Never called, never came home.
So scary. She's so young.
If you look at the picture that's on the drive, which will be on the blog, she kind of looks like a young Kim Richards.
Oh, yeah, she does. Yeah, she's lovely. Mm-hmm.
So about a week later, on August 23rd, 1994, about a mile from where her car was left, a businessman found Beth Ellen's body outside after one of his employees reported a strange smell. Ugh. They found her body badly decomposed under a piece of cardboard between two industrial buildings. So it was in this, like, you wouldn't just be out there walking around finding her.
No.
Yeah. So, and she
it's pretty out of sight.
Yeah. And she was just under some cardboard. The investigators immediately opened a homicide case. 3 days after they found her body, the investigators announced a $6,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the individual responsible for the teen's death. During this time, the police questioned Rick and the client that she was supposed to meet. They eventually determined that Beth Ellen never made it to the hotel.
Oh, wow.
And as for Rick, there was no physical evidence to tie him to the crime scene. So, of course, they always look at the boyfriend. Of course, that person's always should be a person of interest. But they
can't connect it.
They can't connect it. On September 8th, 1994, I am having a really hard time today.
Months are hard, babe.
Months are hard. Numbers are hard.
To be fair.
An anonymous tip was sent to the Raleigh Crime Stoppers, which led the police to find the remains of another young woman named Tracy Ann Moschette. Her remains were found behind a Kmart in West Raleigh, like back near the dumpsters, like behind it. The police determined that the two women's deaths were not related in any way, but it is possible that they are because I believe both of them are unsolved. That same day, another $6,000 was added to the reward fund for Beth Ellen's case. On September 13th, 1994, Superior Court Judge Donald Stevens signed a court order that delayed the release of the medical examiner's report for Beth Ellen's death because he thought that releasing the autopsy results might interfere with the investigation.
Okay, they want to keep things secret so that it's like, oh, that stuff only the killer would know.
Exactly.
Got it.
We know now that the medical examiner revealed, like later on, that she had been stabbed more than 15 times.
Oh, God.
So it was a pecan sandyism.
Yeah.
To a degree. It's probably a crime of passion. I mean, I don't know, given her line of work, it's possible that it was sexually motivated or like a jealousy thing. But we just don't know. A month later, the Goldsboro News-Argus newspaper received an anonymous letter. The letter stated that Beth Ellen was killed because she tried to blackmail members of the escort service that she worked with. And it's coming out now that the escort service, not like now, but like at this point, it was like a BDSM type escort service.
Okay, so there were like kink preferences.
Yes.
Like this escort service catered to individuals who wanted to engage in BDSM.
Yes. And the police and her parents, her family confirmed that Beth Ellen only took jobs that did not involve intercourse. She was just doing the kind of like dominatrix.
Okay.
Maybe some like, fetish stuff, but not actual sex, intercourse sex.
Sure. Which let's hope that she was not taken advantage of. I mean, she was 17, so that's probably also, she's like working for an escort service. It's like, okay, but we don't want you doing this because you're not of legal age.
Yeah. And she was, maybe that was like a deal with her boyfriend that she wasn't actually having sex with other people.
For sure.
Who
There's
are
all
just
kinds of
speculating.
reasons
There's all sorts
to make
of reasons.
to set those boundaries.
It also might not be true because how much do her parents really know about whether or not she's having sex with her sex work clients?
Right.
But this group was a sadomasochistic group that she worked for. And this anonymous letter was alleging that she was trying to blackmail her customers, essentially.
Okay.
According to the letter, Beth Ellen worked with people who had an interest in bondage, sadism, whips and chains, that kind of stuff. She apparently made around $300 to $500 per client. Good money.
Yeah.
The letter alleges that Beth Ellen got tired of the actual work, but still wanted the money and therefore attempted to blackmail her former clients.
I'm not buying this, by the way. She's 17.
I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
It said that the group she worked for was called the Power Exchange of the Triangle, and its members included high-up executives, lawyers, and highly placed public officials. So it was like a... what is that? The skeleton key?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, sex workers are just in a very high risk category for being targeted for acts of violence. I don't think it has to go this deep to this kind of conspiracy, blackmail,
Yeah. This was like one of the very few leads that they had. So it's like kind of attempting to draw the narrative of what happened to her. But like, it seems really, I mean, I'm a big believer in the simplest explanation is probably the correct one.
Yeah.
And
the path
this,
of least resistance.
a blackmail conspiracy involving like elected officials. Like, sure, maybe. But like you said, she's 17. She's making good money. She's it seems far-fetched that she would want to push the envelope so far and put herself in so much danger as to blackmail her clients.
Right, when she's like saving up just to go pursue other avenues anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. This just seems like a lot for a 17-year-old
Yeah. So
to execute.
the letter continues to explain that the night Beth Ellen disappeared, she was going out, quote, to collect.
Now, what I could see is someone within the organization using her and manipulating her, you know, like someone kind of puppeteering, masterminding this to blackmail other clients. And she's in the most vulnerable spot because she's the middle person, essentially. And she got caught up in something. I could see that.
I also don't know much about her boyfriend, but like I could also see him being involved and maybe putting that idea into her head, especially if he's like a little bit older. And
I just don't think she would decide one day, I don't want to do this anymore, but I still want the money. I'm blackmailing all these people. I feel like there had to have been, if that's the course of action that actually took place, I feel like other people were involved in that decision.
Yeah. And we
Speculation.
don't know.
Yep.
On May 9th, 1996, so 2 years after her body was found, detectives released additional details in the investigation. They revealed that 4 rings that Beth Ellen always wore were missing from her body when she was found. So according to them, she was missing a spoon ring made from a sterling silver spoon. Cute. Her mother's ring, a mood ring, and an amethyst ring.
Somebody took mementos, man.
I gotta love a bitch with lots of rings, though.
Yeah.
I love
But
rings.
it doesn't seem like she wouldn't have worn them if she was always wearing them.
They're saying that they were taken from
Yeah.
her.
Someone stole them.
So whoever had that jewelry, you know.
Yeah.
She was
Oh, man.
also missing her pull string shoulder bag. In October, the FBI offered assistance in this teen's case and featured it in the October issue of the FBI's Law Enforcement Bulletin. But the case remains unsolved. And August of 2024 will mark 30 years since her murder.
That's wild. I could see the details of those items being missing also actually kind of supporting the blackmail theory, because someone could have removed those items to make it look like a robbery gone wrong and throw off the investigation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's a very strange case.
It is strange. And yeah, so if you have any information,
Yeah. Contact like the Crime Stoppers line.
yeah. Or apparently the FBI, because the FBI is fucking involved at this point.
Yep. Well,
So yeah, 30 years. So
wow. We have some similarities
Beth
for
Ellen.
sure across our cases. So I'm curious to know what you're going to think when you hear mine.
okay, I'm excited.
Well done.
Thanks.
Should we take a quick sponsy break and then get into some real dark shit?
Yes, please.
Let's do it.
Summer's coming, people, and that means yard work, maybe some rollerblading, maybe biking, maybe hiking,
Hot sun in the beach.
maybe just not having AC
Oof.
and sweating all night long.
It's rough.
It's rough, and you can get a little stanky all over your bod. but
Everywhere.
everywhere. Fortunately, Lumi whole body deodorant has made it so we can smell our best every day, and so can you. Unlike certain other deodorants, Lumi is powered by mandelic acid to deliver outrageous 72-hour odor control everywhere from your pits to your feet, your privates, your belly button, your underboob, the inside of your elbows, wherever. In fact, it was patients' concerns about private part odor that originally inspired the OBGYN who invented Lumi. Fast forward 6 years, and her game-changing whole body deo has now earned over 300,000 5-star reviews from people like us who love feeling confident from head to toe.
Indeed.
And we've got a special offer. New customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code and link, Use code GALS15, GALS15 at LumiDeodorant.com. That's LumiDeodorant.com.
Yeah, I mean, Lucy really covered a lot, but what I love the most about Lumi is that I can even put it on. Like, I'm a sweaty Betty when I sleep, but it doesn't have like harmful stuff that freaks me out in it, so I don't feel concerned about putting on a little bit under the pits and in some of my like under boob between the legs before I go to bed, so that I don't wake up feeling like I'm 10 steps behind in my morning routine because I sweat and I stink. You know what I mean?
Need to shower now.
Exactly. So this whole body deodorant is so great. It's seriously safe to use anywhere on your body. Pits, under boobs, thigh folds. That's a huge one for me. Belly buttons, butt cracks, vulvas, feet. It was created by an OBGYN who saw firsthand how normal BO was being misdiagnosed and mistreated.
We don't like that.
We don't like that. We don't want to do that. This is clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. And you're probably wondering how. Lucy mentioned something a little bit magical earlier. So unlike certain traditional deodorants that try to mask odor with a fragrance, Lumi is formulated and powered by mandelic acid to stop odor before it starts. So it's kind of like a pre-odorant. It's not trying to cover it up after the fact. It's like pre-odorizing you. It's also baking soda free and paraben free. So like I said, if I pop a little on my underarms before I go to bed, I'm not concerned about baking soda or parabens. It's pH balanced for safe use below the belt. And you can choose from a variety of fresh, bright scents like clean tangerine, lavender sage, which I love. It's so delicate and delicious. Or toasted coconut, which is one of my favorite summer fragrances because it's like, I don't know, it's just so summery. It's like sunscreen. I'm obsessed.
I love the coconut. So Lumi Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash, good for travel, deodorant wipes,
Those are the
also really good
best.
for travel. And you get free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 15% off all Lumi products with our exclusive code. And if you combine the 15% off with the already discounted starter pack, that equals over 40% off their starter pack. So use that code GALS15, GALS15, for 15% off your first purchase at LumiDeodorant.com. That's GALS15 at LumiDeodorant.com. And treat a stank.
Treat it. Okay. Are you ready for my case? I mean, I'm definitely in a run of gnarly cases. Like, the ghouls among us have been eating real good in my cases for the last few. This is not an exception.
Am I a ghoul? Yes.
No, I mean like the perps.
Oh, okay.
More than the grisliness, and this case is shocking and extremely violent, but like the senselessness of this case, it really makes, it's devoid of sense. I don't understand. I don't know. But we're going to get into it, and maybe hidden inside the violent, bloody night of June 6th at a convenience store with like a cute little name, there's some kind of motive.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
Kitty Hawk?
No, it's not Kitty Hawk. But it's just, that's what's so weird about this. Like, there's no aha that kind of delivers that sweet true crime dopamine catharsis of closure. It's like part of why I hate unsolved cases.
Was this a fan pick?
I don't actually think so. I think this is just one of many of the cases that could have been covered out of any of our beautiful states, but
Okay.
this one's special. And it's just, the case is unsolved and it's just bewildering. Like, it's super fucking weird. So let's just get into it. We're in Windsor, North Carolina, which is a center of commerce for the farm country all around. This is a really, really small community. Windsor is 90 or so miles east of Raleigh. It has a bustling population of like 2,400 people, period.
Oh.
At least in the 90s when this takes place. It's very small, it's very quiet, and they maybe get a murder every year or two. So like the events of this case took them well past their quota.
Oh, okay. A murder every year or two with 2,400 people is still a lot.
Like in the area, not necessarily like in the city. I don't even think it's necessarily like a murder. It's like a death or a crime.
Oh, okay.
It's just like this shit is unprecedented in this town.
Got it.
So it's 6 p.m., June 6th, 1993. So around the same time that your gal went missing.
Yeah. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
This is a Sunday, so the Belo mini Mart is closing for the night.
Belo.
And a cleaning crew is heading in to gussy the place up for Monday morning. 6:15 p.m., store manager Bud Cecil has finally shoved the last slow foot dragging customer out of the place and locks up the building. As Bud was clearing out the customers, however, he missed one, which is like, this is my nightmare, having a background in like retail and service industry.
You lock the door, there's still someone in there.
Someone had hidden in the store.
No.
Waiting for the customers to leave. So the only folks in the store were Bud, a woman named Joyce Reason, who was working as a cashier that night, and this man who had been hiding, and then he suddenly emerges from the fucking shadows and corners Joyce with a .45 caliber handgun.
Oh my God.
He demands that Joyce take him to see the manager because he wants like money out of the safe. She emptied the till. You know, they're trained on this. Like, you give the fucking money over.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Your life is more important than the cash in the till or the safe. You just give him the cash. And so she gives him the cash out of the till. And when she takes him back to the office and sees Bud complies and he opens the safe and starts giving him money.
Oh.
So they give him about $3,000 in cash and money orders. I guess they used to take money orders at least at this little convenience grocery store.
The 90s were a trip.
The 90s were wild. It's like, here's collateral. Here's my kid's sock. And I'll take 50 pounds of groceries, please. And they're like,
put it
cool.
on my
Put on my tab.
Yeah.
I can't. Now it's like a kid's
Pay
sock.
with your phone.
A kid's sock couldn't get you one jelly bean at the Glasgow Willy Wonka experience.
No lemonade for you.
None. So they've given him all the money that's in the building. Now the gunman has the money, which is like quite a bit for 1993. $3,000 is a lot of money now, but it certainly was then.
Yeah.
Places it all in a big canvas bag. Joyce and Bud are thinking, it's almost over. He's got the money. We're going to get through this. And he walks the pair at gunpoint to the back of the store where they bump into the first of the 4-man cleaning crew, a man named Jasper Hardy, who was there to wax the floor. The gunman now adds Jasper to his hostages and then does something surprising. He calls for the rest of the cleanup crew to join them. Like, he has, some reports said he actually had Bud like call and make sure that they were on their way.
What?
So that he had all these extra hostages.
Oh.
It's fucking weird. And like, it seemed like he knew how many were going to be working that night and wanted to make sure they were all there.
Oh.
He even asked where a particular member of the cleaning crew was as he herded them all into the back of the store to the meat counter.
Like, oh, where's Frankie?
Yeah, he's supposed to be here.
Just so no one would like show up late and surprise him.
Maybe, we don't really know.
Weird.
Why?
Or how
Why?
he knew that.
Mm-hmm. Now that he had all 6 of the Belo employees corralled, he starts, this is really fucked up, guys, so just get ready. He starts tying them up with duct tape and dog leashes that he had taken from the shelves of the pet aisle. He's tying them up and starts to talk to them. Apparently, he tells them a story about how he's a former cop, that he'd just been fired because of a drug job gone bad, and that now without his job, he has nothing to lose.
Oh, God.
He takes these 6 people who are all tied up individually and they're alive, but they're incapacitated by being tied, and I think they're gagged. And he lays them in stacks of 2. So he takes like one person who's underneath a tied up person and then stacks another person on top of them like Lincoln logs or like Legos 2 by 2 in a row.
Stacking humans. That is so fucking creepy.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So like sets of 2 in a row in the back of the store near the meat counter.
Oh, the fact that they're by the meat counter is really gross too.
Yeah, and they were face down. So the person on the bottom is like face down to the floor and the person on top is laying stomach to their back.
Oh.
When he's finished arranging them, he says, quote, "I hope God forgives me for what I'm about to do."
Oh, no.
I can't even imagine the fear and terror of this situation.
Oh, my God.
He then walks down the row of hostages and fires into each of the quote unquote stacks.
Oh, Amanda.
It's what happens.
Oh.
The bullets kill the person on top of each stack.
Stack.
Yeah. So Bud Cecil, who was only 37 at the time, husband and father of five, was on top of a stack and was shot through the head.
Jesus.
He'd been manager at the Belo for like 3 months. It was like a brand new promotion that he'd gotten.
Oh my fucking Lord.
Yep. Another man named Johnny Rankins, age 48, a member of the cleaning crew, was shot in the back and he died of his injuries. Joyce Reason, 36, who was the cashier. She was a single mom of 2 girls. I believe that their father had already passed away.
Oh, good.
She was planning to remarry that summer, and she died.
Jesus.
And she was on top of 40-year-old Tony Welch, who was pierced by the bullet that had passed through Joyce, but he survived.
So it was very intentional stacking them so that he would only use 1 bullet, 2 birds, 1 stone.
So sources conflict here as to whether his gun jammed or he had run out of ammo. If his gun jammed, that's one thing entirely. But if he ran out of ammo, that opens up the sickening possibility that he was stacking his victims to conserve ammo.
Oh my God.
Trying to kill 2 Belo employees with 1 stone.
Because he only had like 4 bullets or whatever.
Yep. And we will circle back to this. I believe that he ran out of bullets. And I believe that he only had 1 magazine because he didn't like replace the clip and keep shooting.
That also kind of makes you wonder, like, how
And it explains the stacking.
How much premeditation went into that. He used leashes to tie them up that were already at the store.
Yep.
He didn't really do anything. All he had was 1 gun with like 4 or however many bullets in it.
Which
That's
is plenty
it.
for a robbery at closing time of a little store. He could have just left,
Yeah.
but he didn't.
Oh my God. That is so fucked.
Unable to fire more shots, he went to the meat counter and armed himself with a knife from the meat counter.
A cleaver.
Yeah. Thomas Hardy, 48 years old, and Jasper Hardy, 50 years old, were 2 brothers that were on the store cleaning crew. And they were the last 2 hostages that were uninjured entirely because the gun ran out of bullets before he got to like their stack.
Oh my God.
Thomas and Jasper Hardy are now horrifyingly confronted by the man wielding a knife. Jasper's tied up and turned in such a way that he can't see, but he hears the attacker ask Thomas if he'll identify him to the police. Thomas Hardy, of course, says no, but Jasper, still unable to see, hears the attacker reply, "I don't believe you." Whoa. And then his brother crying out as he is stabbed in the neck and back.
Oh my God. Are the brothers stacked?
Yes.
Oh my God. So he could
This is
feel
wild
it.
too. This is wild. So he was, it's sick. This whole thing is so sick. I've like never heard anything like this in my fucking life. He was stabbed in the back. Thomas was stabbed in the back so viciously that the knife broke in his back. So now his weapon that he had, he no longer has. The killer turns to Jasper Hardy and asks the same question. "Will you identify me to the police?"
Oh
Jasper says the only thing he can think of, "No, man, I don't know you." The killer replies, "Okay, big man, I'm going to let you live." But I think it's because now he's
He didn't
gone
have a
through his
knife.
gun and he doesn't have the knife anymore. And he's like, time's ticking. I got to get out of here. All these people are dead.
Were those 2
That's my
brothers
theory.
stacked? Did you say those 2 brothers were stacked?
Yes.
So he felt his brother get stabbed on top of him.
Yep.
Oh,
The killer then picks up his canvas bag full of cash. He grabs his gun. He pulls the remnants of the knife and the store keys that he took from Bud, and he leaves. None of these items are ever recovered. Ever.
oh my God.
They don't find them dumped anywhere. They're lost in the ether. We've never found them.
Holy shit.
Tony Welch, the cleaning crew member who had been stacked underneath Joyce and injured as the bullet passed through her, has survived, like I said. This is fucking nuts. The blood from her injuries on top of him, as well as his injury being pierced from the bullet, soaked through the duct tape that was binding him and loosened, like removed the adhesive.
Oh.
Loosening the duct tape enough that Tony was able to crawl across the floor, like pull his hands out, crawl across the floor, push himself up against the wall and get to a phone
Oh my God.
where he calls the police. When the police arrive, they find the building locked. The killer had used the keys to lock up after himself. The scene was, quote, very gruesome. The scene had a blood trail from the back all the way up to the front. Windsor Police Chief Bowen was the first officer to enter the back of the store. He said, quote, everything was deathly quiet. There was nothing in the store other than the hum of the cooler compressors in the background.
Ew.
As he eased down the aisle, he saw the victims piled in the back. Quote, oh, this really broke my heart. And like fucking ACAB, but like trauma is trauma. This would be awful. Quote, I recognize some of the victims I knew personally. When you know the people involved, you can't help but have personal feelings about it. Now, I wish that police had personal feelings about every case that fell into their lap. And I can have empathy for the horror to see members of your own community so violently harmed like that. I don't know how you recover from seeing something like that. I certainly don't fucking know how you recover from having your brother stabbed while he's bound and lying on top of you. It's unfathomable. Thomas Hardy, the stabbed brother, despite a slashed throat and a butcher knife broken off in his back, is alive.
Oh.
And rushed to the hospital in critical condition. And he survives.
Goosebumps. Oh, God bless Thomas.
Yeah. It's a fucking miracle. So, and Joyce Reason, she was shot in the head and she died. Bud Cecil was shot in the head and he died. Johnny Rankins was shot in the back and he died. Tony Welsh was shot in the back through Joyce Reason, was hospitalized in critical condition and did survive. Thomas Hardy, throat slash, butcher knife broken into his back, hospitalized in critical condition, survived. Jasper Hardy, untouched, physically unharmed.
Big man.
Obviously, each of the three survivors experienced a person shot and killed or stabbed while laying on top of them. So they're not unharmed psychologically by any stretch of the fucking imagination. And, you know, I don't know. It's a miracle he survived. I don't really agree with what Bertie County Sheriff Wallace Berry said, calling him lucky. Because I wouldn't call this lucky. Be like, he said he felt the trauma when the man on top of him was shot. But it's like, physically, yes, he was lucky that he survived. Psychologically, none of these survivors are lucky. I couldn't possibly imagine their pain and fear and trauma.
The brothers, especially. I mean,
it's all awful. I mean, they both survived, thank God. But gee, this shit like makes me speechless, and I'm rarely fucking speechless. Police forensically process the entire store looking for any fingerprints or other evidence. The prints they find are run through databases at the time of the killings, and many times since, yielding no results. Meaning this guy stayed out of the system for all these years. They have no record of fingerprints that match any of this. Same with there were shoe prints in the blood. They'd found nothing that was usable.
Unbelievable.
So they basically just started poking at any possible lead in any direction. Like there's hundreds of angles that they assess this case from. They're looking for a small white car with Maryland plates that witnesses saw in the area, thinking maybe this was not a community member. This is like someone passing through.
Do they believe that he is a former cop or whatever he said to the people?
We'll get to that. So they did look into like recent firings, like all along the East Coast from like the police force, and nothing was matching. They got a loose description of the man from survivors. But the description and the sketch were like they weren't very accurate.
Okay.
So they didn't prove very helpful.
Okay.
In finding a suspect. They put out an all points bulletin on this car with Maryland plates, and they did get calls from police departments around the nation with information about like recent firings from police stations, but nothing matched. They looked at links to other robberies in the area. They even tried to use satellite photos to spot suspicious cars or people that like were just not members of the community.
Weird.
Out of town plates, things like that. But there were and the only thing that would have been available to them in this regard, because the FBI was helping, that's how they could get access to this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
There were the only satellites that had the capacity to take even like grainy photo were military satellites, and there were no military satellites in that area at that time. So they like looked to see, and it's like, okay, we don't have this. Of course, the store had cameras, but they weren't working.
Of course.
And it's a community of 2,400 people. Like, no one's fucking cameras are working.
Right.
You know, this is totally one of those like leave your doors unlocked kind of communities.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, even the survivor's description of the attacker gave little to work with, despite the fact that he wore no mask and made no attempt at all to hide his face from his victims. But they were like confronted quickly, tied up face down. They didn't have a lot of time to look at him.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who did survive experienced a shit ton of trauma that's going to affect your eyewitness recollection.
And he could have just been a very plain looking person with no like, oh, he's a 5'10" white guy with brown hair.
Well, okay, so they took his profile and the survivors did describe him as a like 5'10", medium build, light brown eyes, black male, like a light-skinned black male. And so, yes, very generic description. The only kind of like even remotely identifying factor that was mentioned for the composite sketch that I think actually ended up making the sketch even harder to use is that he had like a strange narrowness to the bridge of his nose that one of the witnesses was like, it kind of looked like his nose had been broken in the past and he'd had like surgery to put it back.
Oh.
But it's like, okay, I don't know. It's just they didn't have enough to go on. But then, of course, the FBI gets that and it's like they see black male and then they're like, okay, well, this is probably someone who's been through the system a bunch of times and they're making all of these like very racist generalizations. But then none of the fingerprints ping anything.
Mm-hmm.
So like, clearly their assessment because he happens to be a black male that he's probably formerly fucking incarcerated was not correct.
Yeah.
Because they had all these usable prints and none of them are pinging.
He just slipped away.
Ooh,
like
so
a
it's
phantom.
so yeah, very much like you said, it's a very generic description that could absolutely fucking match tons and tons and tons of people. And there's the added element of racism that can complicate the search.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like all of these things compounded to basically create a perfect situation for a violent person to get away.
God.
So it's utterly bewildering. All of these leads come up empty. Sheriff Perry said, quote, I haven't believed in, so this is to what your question was earlier. I haven't believed and still don't believe that it's someone traveling around and just dropping in at the Belos at closing time. The sheriff speculates he might have had family or friends in the area, and that's how he'd become familiar with the place and chosen it as a target. Like, it's not enough on the beaten path, like on a major throughway.
Okay.
To be kind of somewhere that you're stopping for respite if, like, you're driving to another community. So that's
you're intentionally going to this place.
Yeah, it kind of seems like if you're here, it's because you know someone here or you live here.
Yeah, okay.
Also, if we remember the details of how he seemed to know how many cleaning crew members to be expecting, like maybe he'd been in town for a couple days and had his eyes on the place. Then gun permit requests from the residents just skyrocket because these murders are unsolved. People in the area are terrified and they're looking to arm themselves.
I'm terrified.
Yeah. Local business owners like restaurant owner J.W. Russell, they're all on edge. He says, quote, I wasn't too happy thinking about walking into an empty building today with the cash box. A $30,000 reward is offered, but didn't produce a single lead. In September of 1993, there was another violent crime that seemed similar in Raleigh, but investigators couldn't find substantial evidence to connect the two in a significant way. And by the 25th fucking anniversary of the murders, investigators involved were interviewed and like still kind of coming up with nothing. But these are some of their thoughts to this day. I mean, now it's been well over 25 years. We're over 30 years now, and it's still unsolved.
Unbelievable.
Retired Bertie County Sheriff Perry said he thought too much stock was put in the composite sketch, specifically the nose, which appeared thin at the base and indicated a possible past broken nose. An inaccurate sketch can hinder investigations and even lead you toward completely incorrect people who maybe coincidentally resemble the sketch.
I mean, I feel like the police sketch stuff is
They're always
really
bad.
far-fetched anyway.
It's a loose science. They're not spot on. So just like, I don't know, take them with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
There had been theories floated around about the attacker. Okay, so this is like to speak to the ex-police, ex-military. So there had been theories about the attacker possibly being ex-military. He'd said that he was fired recently from the police force, that he used to be a cop, whatever. But retired FBI Special Agent Dwight Ransom, which you can't believe is the same,
good.
addressed the military or police connection. And I completely agree with this, saying, quote, I don't think either scenario fits this man. It has always puzzled me that he had only one magazine for his pistol. A person trained in the military or as a police officer always carries more than one magazine. That leads me to believe he wasn't a military or a police officer. All I do know is he's a cold-blooded killer. So, like, if the gun had jammed or run out of ammo and he'd had a second magazine, he could have opened it up, put it in and tried to fire again, but he didn't. He never reloaded. He didn't even try to open the gun, according to the witnesses. So that makes me think it didn't jam. He ran out of ammo. He'd only brought that loaded weapon that I don't even think was fully loaded, which, to what you were saying before, to me indicates even if he was passing through and he was staying with friends and he's in a desperate situation and they know that this small town store is here, he had enough information to know for a robbery, and then think something fucking changed. Maybe when those cleaning guys showed up.
But he knew the
because I think he knew he wanted to rob it. And so he'd gotten enough information to be like, okay, I have to go in at this time. They're closing around 6 on Sunday. Then the cleaning crew is going to show up at this time. And maybe things took longer than he anticipated. I don't know if he ever intended to run into the cleaning crew. And then they do show up and he's like, wait, we're missing one. Like you said, I don't want... You mentioned something that was like, maybe he doesn't want to be surprised again by another person showing up. That all to me seems like, I went here to rob the store. I didn't intend to hurt anybody, but now things are escalating. But then where it loses me is like, it spirals so out of control. It's like, okay, now things are escalating, but I also only have one magazine in my gun and it's not full. So I'm scrambling to figure out what I do. Okay, I guess I stack these people so that if things get hairy, I can maybe save ammo. Like this, it makes me feel physically ill to think like, is that really the thought process?
The logic that had to have gone through his head is
right? Like
fucking gross.
Something broke or this is an escalation of past behavior that's ongoing. And we don't know. None of it makes sense. But I completely agree with this agent's assessment. That's like, that makes no sense to me that he would not have, and a second magazine. And what you said about how he's like using dog leashes to tie them up. I think he's thinking on his feet.
I think so too.
And something is has gone seriously wrong psychologically for this to be the pattern of events. If you want to tie them up, take the money and go and just let them be discovered, great. You didn't have to fucking do all this.
Something
went wrong that we there's something missing here, and we don't fucking know what it is, and that's the shit that like keeps me awake at night. There have been no new developments. The police are always hopeful for new information and obviously new technology, like the advances in DNA collection. I'm hopeful that we'll see a resolution to this case in our lifetime, but I don't know. It's been so long now.
It's been a while. I mean, he's gotten away.
Yeah, we have no idea where he is or if he's even alive. At the Belo building is now a community college campus. Just inside the door at the college, there is a plaque dedicated to the folks who died in this attack. People following this case go back and forth a lot about how premeditated it was. Like if the killer was fucking with them, if there were elements that were staged, if the whole thing really was just a weird robbery into murder escalation with too few bullets. But like what we've been doing, all we can do at this point is speculate and nobody knows. Because I feel like you get down, I feel like I latch on to something that makes sense and then something goes so left in the details of this case that it's like, I personally cannot make the jump from robbery gone wrong, thinking on my feet, okay, I'm going to stack them and tie them up, to all these people are dead and 3 people are survived after you broke a knife in somebody's back. Like, what's missing?
Yeah.
Something is fucking missing between those two things.
And
it's driving me nuts.
The fuck away.
And he got away.
That's
He's gone.
Crazy.
And I don't know. Maybe there was an element of just like the power over people in that moment was part of the drive. Maybe the robbery was for show. And he just wanted to be in that position. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, this makes so little sense logically that like we can't put ourselves into that decision-making mode. But if a person, I mean, bear with me because this sounds insane, But if a person had fantasized about committing a robbery,
Sure.
had intentionally limited
Their options.
weapons or, tape or whatever, like they wanted to like challenge themselves almost or make it more of like a psychological fuckery situation.
It feels like a gruesome game the way it plays
out. It's like
out.
a game.
Like some Saw shit.
Yeah.
It's very creepy.
And maybe the stacking was part of a fantasy at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Could have
because
been.
he had no fail safes.
Mm-mm.
That's like it could have been a weird, fucked up challenge to himself.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I hope we know someday, but it's completely senseless. It's mind blowing. It's wild. I just think and I think that's part of it. Like the total lack of sense and motive is contributing to keeping this case cold because we can't make sense of the steps taken here to even like psychologically wrap our heads around this crime.
Yeah.
And point us in a specific direction to go, okay, he wanted this. Let's look over here.
Yeah.
We don't have that. It's like so random and gruesome and bizarre.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, that's my case.
I mean, it's horrifying, but
it's fascinating.
Those really gruesome details, like the fucking stacking.
Yeah.
That's the kind of shit that
I don't know.
When it comes to true crime storytelling.
It's the gruesome details are fucked.
Super fucked.
I don't know. But I mean, get at us in the chat. I'd love to hear your theories. And obviously, if anyone, God, if this is the case that we talk about that's unsolved, that someone hears our take on it and fucking knows something, I'll be shocked. But just like we always say with anything that's unsolved, if you or someone you know has any information about these murders, please contact Crime Stoppers, contact the FBI. You can call anonymously, just like the show, like someone knows something. There's always someone. And I can't believe that even with a case that's 30 plus years old, that there isn't someone alive who might have information about this so that these families and survivors can get a little peace.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much to our fan picker, Jenna Bradley, and Kiss Martin and Senator for me. And North Carolina is wild.
Super fucking wild.
Wild times. But yeah, that's all for now. And we'll see you next week.
I need to go to bed. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Love you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Danielle Sylvan. Music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell. Editing by Jonathan Camp. Our production manager is Andrea Gardner. For photos and sources, check out our blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can follow us on all the socials at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. If you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support and get access to all sorts of wine-fueled bonus content, visit our Patreon page. Cheers!